So it's Friday, February 14th, which means it's Valentine's. And I'm guessing by how many videos and films I make on Valentine's every year, you already know it's one of my favorite holidays. I just kind of thought that today it would be nice to slow down and have a bit of a candid stream of consciousness talk about love. Because right now in our world, it's pretty politically scary. It feels like every time I go on my phone, I'm bombarded with new anti-queer legislations coming in and cruelty from the government towards homeless people and those trying to help them, amongst a frustratingly exhaustive list of other things that are just completely inhumane and unnecessary. It's like we're witnessing the people in charge of our countries, who are uneducated, uninformed, erratic men, throw tantrums anytime they have to interact with someone who is not exactly like them. I really can't wrap my head around this societal and interpersonal regression happening. You know, like a motto that I've lived by for several years now, which was inspired by reading Bell Hooks's books, is in any given situation, I ask myself, what is the most loving thing I can do right now? That question always produces the most caring and optimal results for all parties involved. And when I witness the world, it feels like nobody's actions reflect that. It's really sad. You know, I want there to be more care everywhere. And I find in moments like these, it is really important for me to come into a place of balance with being an attentive, informed, and vocal activist, as well as someone who knows how to step back and be held by community and friendships and relationships. Right now, for this Valentine's, I am entering that space. I have the most incredible people in my life, and they have so much love for me that these extreme politics that, for example, want to erase queer identities, and in particular, non-binary and trans people, such as myself, they make it possible for me to have days where I can just brush that off my shoulder. Because the level of care we have for each other is not something that can be taken away. And I myself really do feel this kind of endless love in me that makes me feel really confident that I can handle anything that comes my way or my community's way. Makes me feel confident that I'll be able to make a difference in people's lives as well. So this is maybe a tangent, but it is related. I went out for lunch with my dad recently, and he was asking about my volunteering. Now, I don't think I've talked about this on YouTube before, but I've been doing this for over a year now, where my partner and I collect food donations for the community fridge here in our city, which feeds low-income and homeless people. And we've had a variety of experiences and interactions in doing this, and they've all been quite positive overall. People are grateful to eat food. I find, though, that I'm met with a weird reception when I talk about it, because we often do these deliveries at night, and we do so in one of the hoods of our city. Now, the weird reception is generally just people being concerned for our well-being, but they don't have to be. It's well-meaning, but also based in stereotypes. So, backtracking to the lunch, my dad was asking about my volunteering and how it's been. And I told him that with the -35, -40 degrees Celsius weather we've been having, it's been a lot tougher for people to make it out to the fridges to retrieve the food. And when my partner and I were last there was only one person collecting food, and they asked for a ride back home. And so we did that. You know, it was so cold that even us, bundled up in proper winter gear, were really struggling. And this person didn't even have gloves or mitts. you know, there was no way for them to carry this food home without really risking frostbite. So yeah, we drove them home, and that was that. And so I told my dad, and, you know, he was concerned. In general, my parents don't really like that I do this because they worry I'm putting my own safety in harm's way. And whenever I've met them with saying my life is equally as valuable as these people's, you know, like me staying completely 100% safe, stored away in my apartment all the time, means that so many more people are going to struggle with their lives. So make it make sense. Obviously, I'm their kid. They're going to look at things differently. But I'm mentioning this because I see this exact dynamic everywhere. Like, people are constantly surveying the value of everyone's lives. There is this created ranking system, and people are picking on those ranked the least because things like trans people and homeless people are smaller in community size than some others. So they target them first because it's easy, it's big numbers against small numbers, but then just keep working their way up. You know, we really need to be seeing everybody as valuable and important and also lovable. Because I'm just kind of doing a stream of consciousness, let's not worry about a segue. Let's just move on to another thing real quick. Today, in about half an hour, I'm gonna go hang out with one of my best friends. We haven't fully solidified our plans yet. We just know that we want to see each other and exchange really cheesy Valentine's cards. And then after that, in the evening, my partner and I are going to order from our favorite Mexican restaurant and then make margaritas at home. It seems they might have a secret planned, and I have no clue at all what that could be. But I made them a bunch of little gifts because, well, I guess we haven't talked about this yet, but part of why I love Valentine's, other than my big grandiose speech on love, is how crafty it is. You know, I find that with Christmas, there is such an expectation to buy big and or multiple gifts for almost everyone in your life. Whereas Valentine's is a bit more about showing authentic love. There's something about it being a more low-key holiday, especially in the fact that it's not actually a holiday, right? Like, nobody has Valentine's off work. You do have to go out of your way to interact with it. And there's really not a lot of expectations on celebrating it, right? Like, I love celebrating Valentine's with my friends, but also I don't have to. When it comes to being partnered, I feel like a lot of people choose to just stay home and watch a movie. So yeah, I find that Valentine's kind of gets a bad rep in that people call it a really corporate holiday, and that it's just about forking out money to show someone you love them on one day, when you should be just caring for them all days. And although I understand that narrative, that's never how I've experienced Valentine's Day. My partner and I experience a really healthy love, and we do genuinely show each other that to our fullest capacity every day. But what's nice about Valentine's is it's a bit more intentional, and as two people who enjoy celebrating each other, there's like a dedicated day to that. And it's quite easy to not lean into the corporate consumerist version of Valentine's. There are so many resourceful, sustainable ways to show someone you love them. And with that said, I thought I would show you the little gift I got them. By the time this video is uploaded, they will have already opened this. So it's not a spoiler, but you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So the main part of their gift is this. Now, it may just look like a strange fortune cookie. That's because physically it is. But the actual fortune in here, is the URL to a blog I made them. So the first time my partner and I ever said I love you to each other was a few days before Valentine's. And I was the one to say it. It took me a couple of really nerve-wracking weeks to have the courage to say it. And in that 2-week time period between realizing I loved them and actually saying it, I took a picture of the sky every time I wanted to, but didn't. And so what ended up happening is that I never stopped doing that. For the year and some months that we've been together, I've taken a picture of the sky every time I've felt so extraordinarily in love with them. And I ended up making an entire blog of our love skies. There are no hashtags and it's not following anyone. It's not a social media thing. It's just a private blog filled with all of these photos of the days we spent together. And most of them are uncaptioned, but I have the odd one that has a date and something significant to us, like our anniversaries or our birthdays. I am aware that this is really cheesy, but my partner loves cheese, so I think it'll go over well. The second thing I made was a crossword. My partner does daily crosswords, and so I made my own. It says, I love you and you love ... And all of these answers are actual things they love. So, got the key on the back. This is by no means advanced, and they'll likely solve everything very quick, but it was fun to pack so many memories onto a small piece of paper. The third thing I'm giving them is a postcard. It has these really cute strawberry vines and was made by a local artist here in our city. My partner collects postcards and has a cute little gallery wall of them, so I thought this just suited it really well. And my favorite color is red, theirs is green, so it's a little bit like us. And then the last thing I got them is chocolate. Now, as much as I do really like the romantic packaging of Valentine's chocolates, it's important to my partner to have fair traded chocolate and from companies under Rainforest Alliance. So there weren't a lot of options when I was looking. I've never tried this kind, nor do I think they have, but it felt more important to me to get them chocolate they ethically align with more than would aesthetically enjoy. Okay, I've been talking for a long time now. I hope you enjoyed my ramblings, and I guess I'll see you next week. Bye.